All right. No, I appreciate you guys coming out. It's February and get spring ball started this week. We start practice number 1 on Wednesday, and looking forward to it. Looking forward to get back out there. There's nothing like just getting back out there on the field. Everything is equally important when you look at the 12-month calendar, and you have to take every day and every section of it equally dive into those things, and they everything matters. So these past 6 weeks has really been an important part for us. The off-season program that Meade Smith heads up with our strength staff, and diving into the weight room, you see a lot of guys make a lot of big gains, but you feel like what we've found is 6 weeks is about the right amount of time with guys, and then it's time to get right into practice. I know teams seem like they get sooner and sooner getting back out there on the field. So we're excited. We put in 6 weeks. This is week 7 for us. We end our off-season training, I guess, with a big lake run tomorrow, 2.5-mile run where everybody's going. We open it up to the public, so if you want to get out there and come run with us, you're more than welcome to. And then we'll practice on Wednesday. So we'll practice 5 times, then we take a week off for spring break, and then we come back for our last 10 practices. So looking forward to getting into the details. That's what I've told our guys, is that's where we're going to make our strides. And in spring ball is diving into the details. If we want to get better, it's every day, every rep's important, and those fundamentals and those little gains that we have to have individually and then collectively as groups, offense, defense, and special teams, then we'll come out of spring ball a better team. So great opportunity for us to get a look at some of our younger guys that redshirted. It's always a fun time as a coach to watch those guys get out there and get a lot more reps, and seeing them a lot more comfortable from their last time that they really got a true look was in training camp. But we do a great job during the season. On Sundays we have developmental practices where we went back. They got 175 team reps throughout the year, and now they've had an off-season program, more comfortable. So we'll identify some guys that can really help us out this year that maybe didn't play as much in this past season. So spring ball is a great time for a team to grow and get better. And I think you got to be focused because you only get 15 practices. Only 12 of them can be in pads. So it seems like a long time, but it's really not. It goes by pretty quick. So, but our coaches have been working really hard and made some adjustments, some things that we're going to look at schematically, and be excited to get out there. Like Tom said, we're excited about Jeremy. The NFL Combine started today, and Jeremy will get his crack at that later on in the week, so we'll be thinking about him. We talked about him quite often, and it was awesome to have him back at a basketball game. I know he appreciated that, and his family appreciated that, and I just think he has a great opportunity to go and show that he's probably one of the best athletes in the entire draft, and I know that that's what he's looking to do. Put out the schedule today, too. We're excited about the 2020 schedule. I think that when you look at it, we open up on the road at UT Martin, who's going to be a really good team that probably has their sights set on being a contender in the OVC. They were a tough opponent last year, and we got to go on the road to start the season. We're on the road the first 2 games, and we go to Wisconsin, then we got SEMO here at home. So. And then we have a bye, and then we're right into the Missouri Valley, and we got Northern Iowa back on the schedule. They were off for 2 years, which has always been a great game for us. It was tough. It's one of those games that as more teams start coming into the league, and North Dakota's into the league, and we're happy that they're in the league, but some of these teams that go off, it was hard to see Northern Iowa, even though each year it's a battle and it's a grind and a tough game, but it's just always been one of those games that you circle on your schedule because there's been so many great games between us. So we're excited that they're back on the schedule as well. So a lot of things going on, and glad we're talking about football here in February.
What determines that UNI becomes the first game on your Valley schedule? Probably one of the top teams next year.
Yeah, not us. When it comes to the Valley schedule, that's a tough job. Scheduling's a tough job, and so our league does a great job of doing that. There's always going to be some certain things that are tough, but we got to play them all at some point. So it doesn't really matter who's first. You want to try to have a great schedule with home and away balance and back-to-back away games, but everybody's going to have their situations, and so I think our schedule is our schedule. I always say that we don't really ever look too far ahead. We're going to play the teams that are on our schedule and know that it's a tough schedule. It's never going to change if you play in this league. So we got to prepare for that, and that's the way that we'll practice.
Looking at quarterback, is Correa set in stone as your starter, or are you going to give Stone a chance, Smith a chance? What's the look at there for spring?
Correa's our starting quarterback going into the spring. You know, I don't know if anything in life is set in stone, you know, and everybody has to come out and compete and re-earn their job every single day. You know, me, our assistant coaches, everybody. And so, but Correa will go out there and get the first snaps, and he knows that, and everybody in that room knows that. But there's a lot of good quarterbacks in that room that'll compete and push, and that's what makes a great team. I mean, every position's got to have competitive balance in there, and we've got to recruit that way. And so I'm excited about that room to go out and play well this spring.
Come spring,
Go ahead.
come spring, what competitions do you like to see in? And the other thing is with the kids that come early, really kind of getting a closer look at, I guess, because this is, you got a short window, as you said, to take a look at before the ball camp comes.
Yeah, on the defensive side of the ball, we return a lot of guys, really about 8 guys that started on a really good defense. So up the middle, but then at the corner position, those guys are going to have to compete. Jonathan Thompson played a lot of snaps for us, who's back, and then P.J. Jules as a true freshman, but we lost 4 senior corners. And so there's going to be some young guys that have to step up and emerge, and a lot of guys that'll get some reps. We lose Jeremy, but we also return quite a bit of depth at safety. Quay Brown had an all-conference season that's back at safety. Mike Elbert's played for 2 years for us, and maybe has had the best offseason out of anybody on our team. That's been just kind of behind 2 really good players. And then Joe Patterson started games in the last 2 seasons for us at safety. So have a couple young guys that are going to get an opportunity to add some depth there too. And then we signed Aaron Maddox from the University of Colorado that will be in there at safety as well. And then I think Malik Haynes played really well at nose at defensive tackle at nose last year, and as a senior, and just a guy that we could rely on. And when we go back and watch cut-ups, he had an excellent season. And so, we bring back quite a few guys. Keenan Agnew played at a high level. He's back. Blake Parzich is back. And so building some depth at the D tackle. We return a lot of guys at defensive end. Anthony Knighton's on pace to set our sack record here at the school. 3-year starter. Jordan Berner, 3-year starter. Really, we've got 4 seniors across there. Chucky is back. Raquan started games for us at defensive end last year, is back. And so we've got some depth on that side of the ball. I think on the offensive side of the ball, center is a big piece. Jacob Marning's been a fixture there for us for 3 seasons. Just smart, reliable, tough. And when you lose a 5th-year senior, academic All-American leader for us, we're going to have to replace him. So some young guys will move around, some different guys that'll get some reps. That's what's good about spring, is get on film some different looks, some different combinations on there. And then tackle. I mean, Bo played a lot, as a freshman All-American for us, but we've got to get better at the tackle position, and they know that. And so Brett Groves came in and got some valuable playing time at Western Illinois. And so we're excited about the offensive line. You're always building depth. You're going to have 7 or 8 of those guys that can start games for you. We felt like the guys that we brought in that redshirted this year as true freshmen, a couple of those are going to have some opportunities to play for us this year. So I'm excited to watch them. DJ Davis is, we lose his production. But I think it gives an opportunity from Romir to get some more touches, Javon, and continue to grow as a tailback, but continue to use him at quarterback and expand in his role. We moved Justin Strong from safety to tailback, who's probably one of the best athletes, if not the best athlete on our team, and really just trying to find his best role on this team because he can really help us out. So excited about him getting an opportunity in spring at tailback as well. We return everybody at wide receiver. Everybody is back, and so again, there's a lot of continuity coming back, and that's hopefully what you see out there at practice is getting lined up and working on details. And this time last year, a lot of new moving parts. It was Correa and really Stone's first time competing and first times out of a lot of team. A brand new defensive staff that was just trying to get guys lined up. I think now in the year 2, you can start to dive into the details and work on corrections and work on some things that this team's gonna to grow in. And so we're excited about getting out there and getting that opportunity.
Do you think whoever replaces Chin, that'll be an important thing, Nick, or do you see scheme maybe picking up Chin?
Probably a little bit of both. I think that's our job to figure out what those guys can handle. Every team is different. You add some pieces, and some pieces always leave your team. And so understanding what their strengths are. We've played several games without Jeremy, though, in the past. 2 this year where he was hurt, really 2.5 games where he was hurt. Joe P came in and did a great job seeing what Aaron Maddox can do and what his strengths are. And so moving those guys around and Coach Petrino do a great job with that. So I think it's a little bit of both. I mean, just scheme-wise, what does this team do the best, and then fit not getting too far away from what our beliefs are on defense and what we do, and having them to play that well as well.
Could be a bigger loss on the player-led side, right?
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, every year, too, you lose great leaders. I've said that all last year is DJ and Jeremy, 2 of the best leaders that we've ever had here as far as setting the example, doing a great job. Our story's been told quite a bit, coming off a tough season, being 2-4. If we don't have those type of men in the room, then we don't pull it out or we don't change it around. So, but we do bring back. I mean, last year we had 10 seniors. Really 10 guys left our team. This year, with adding the 2 grad trainers, we're going to have 21 seniors on our team. So it goes from double the amount of seniors. These guys that were in the 2016 recruiting class have been with me all 5 years. So the expectations, they should probably be able to get up and lead a team meeting the first day of spring ball, what I'm going to say, what the expectations are, how we're supposed to take the field. I mean, this is our 5th time together. And so more leaders collectively, but probably Jeremy and DJ not only exemplified it off the field, but then they went on the field and were our best players too. And so that's still to be seen. Some guys got to emerge and take over those roles.
Kreider, Strong, and Notre. It's got to be one of the best trios that you could throw out there in the NBC as linebacker. Yeah,
and I whenever you say that too, in the NBC, it's in the country because this is the best league in the country. So we don't lose any linebackers off last year's team, and I felt like they played at a high level. And then Bryce, lost for the majority of the season, got back and played in the North Dakota State game, and ended up playing a lot more snaps than we thought. So, I mean, we want to have our 3 best linebackers on the field. Bryce has not played Sam as much out there to the field, but he did a pretty good job against NDSU, and we'll see. We'll use his role. We'll find a way to get all 3 linebackers out there, and then we depth behind those guys too. McKell played well at times, had several tackles for a loss. He's coming off shoulder surgery. Him and Lucas Giegling have both been really productive players. Those are linebackers that have done a lot of good things for us that we didn't even mention. Nick Tarana was doing a great job all last spring. Really thought that he would have a really productive year. He tore his labrum, so now he's back. So he missed all last season, so now he's fully healthy and be a part of spring ball. So we have great depth at linebacker. We'll probably hold off of Cody, as a 6-year player with those injuries. Last year at this time, Cody was out there as a running back. We were playing around with trying to see if he wanted to play football or not, and then he comes out and has an all-conference season, and so he'll do a lot of coaching this spring and be in on the installs and things, but we'll take care of Cody as well, just with his 6th year. And so we're excited about the linebackers for sure.
Talk about a little bit about the schedule. With Petrino going to Missouri State and then the Petrino's here, how fun is that going to be, I guess, head-to-head when that happens, I guess, towards the end, middle of the schedule?
Yeah, no, I'm sure you'll have to ask those guys about it. I think that at times they get tired of hearing that, but yeah, it'll be fun for their family. I'm sure they've got a close family, football-driven family. Bobby's dad and Jason and Jared's dad are brothers, both coaches themselves. They all went to the same college, Carroll College out in Montana. So, I mean, it's a long line of history of coaching, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of extended family, I'm sure, at that game as well.
Wisconsin week 2, they finished the season top 10 last year, played in the Rose Bowl, should be top 15 when you play them. What's the benefit for this group playing a team at that caliber?
Well, I think it's exciting as a player. They'll we're not just going up there to enjoy ourselves at all, but as an experience, as a student athlete, that's a top 10 environment to go and play in, and it's a incredible atmosphere. It's something that they'll always remember, just like going to play Ole Miss or wherever we go. Those are things that people look forward to on the schedule. Parents look forward to, alumni look forward to, and we'll go up there just like we have every year that I've played FBS opponent, is go up there and prepare to win the football game, and our guys will think no different. They're going to be a heck of a team. They're physical, and to be honest with you, I mean, our main focus throughout the summer and everything's going to be getting ready for UT Martin, and then we'll prepare for Wisconsin just like we would any other team that's week 2 on your schedule.
Is Correa maybe fired up about that, being someone that played?
Yeah, I mean, Correa, when we recruited him, obviously looked at that too. His brother starts for Wisconsin. Again, another family tie. I mean, he grew up in Madison. Mom and dad live right there in Madison. So, I mean, you're going to have some natural tendencies to be looking at that game on the schedule for sure.
We asked you about players, but I know at the end of the season you thought you were a playoff team. How much were you chomping at the bit to get back out there and try to get to the next level? I know that you weren't satisfied how it ended.
Yeah, I think that, I'm excited here in a second to meet with our leadership council. I mean, I was just as excited to get going day 1 of off-season training. I really was. And so we've put the season behind us, but not forgot about it either, of using that as not motivation. We don't need motivation, but if I think adversity or times like that, or that feeling of being left out, if you use it in the right way. I heard Tony Bennett say, and I've used their team a lot in reference of, they went from the worst loss in college basketball history and had 365 days of thinking about it and using it in the right way, and then they went and won a national championship, same group of guys. And he said adversity used in the right way can buy you a ticket to somewhere that you couldn't have been before, and that's what we have to do, is we got to use that adversity to make us better. Sometimes recall on that feeling to kind of get you going in times that you don't feel like getting going. And that's what we've got, a great group of guys that I believe will do that. So there's no feeling sorry for us or anything like that. We're just ready to get better. We got to win more games. To do that, you got to concentrate on every rep and every day that you have to get better.
But you can talk about adversity, Coach, but the last half of your season last year, something kind of got going, didn't it, in a better direction than the previous couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, there's no denying that. We won more games, you win 5 games in a row. And so we've got to use that too. I think that they saw, I mean, there was a different, almost just drawing a line in the sand of, but I think that they recognized that it was more of even the approach to practice, finishing practices, starting practices, all those things that it's easy to say, but when you start to see some success, the buy-in of believing in that, the older guys and those younger guys that we have, all those new 28 new players or whatever we had, that's all that they've known is that season. And that's when great programs start to get better, is that's the expectation for them. They haven't seen it the other way. So, but we're 0-0 and we're at spring ball number 1 and it's back to the fundamentals, and we need to go out there and we need to stretch right and we need to warm up right and we need to get lined up right. And just because we won some games at the end of last season won't win us that first one. And so just got to get back to fundamentals and working.
What would Jeremy's been projected to maybe go late first round, early second round. If he went in that spot like some have been projecting, what would that mean to the program and to you?
It doesn't mean anything to me as far. It means a lot to me. Just proud. I think just kind of like you would be as a parent, and nothing more than that. Nothing for me. Just proud of him. I think that when you start talking about first round draft pick, you're talking of an elite level that you just don't come around much. I don't care where you play. To become a first rounder is it's life changing for sure. And but he's just, we've talked about him a million times. There's someone that would deserve that or be ready for that. I don't know if that's the right way to put it either, but Jeremy can handle it. I think that that stage isn't too big for him. He's got high expectations for himself. He's humble but confident, and I'm excited to watch his future. Just sit back as like a fan and watch him.
A week or two ago, you signed a contract extension. You have any comments on that?
I'm just excited to be here. I'm excited to be a Saluki. I'm excited every day that I've ever been here. That doesn't change. I'm grateful to represent this university that I played in. That's why I told him. Our team, we have a book club where on Thursdays we read a John Gordon book and a player leads it, and we were just kind of talking about what it means to be a Saluki and leave your legacy and stuff. And this is my 16th year of being a Saluki. 2004 came here. It's 2020, so I'm proud to be a Saluki and represent this program. And until my keys don't work, I'll just continue to come to work and do the best job I can.
Not this year, but some year in the future, is it possible that Javon Williams could develop to be an adequate enough passer that you might put him in the quarterback room again?
I think he'd probably be mad that you asked that question. If he's an adequate passer, he thinks he's a more than adequate passer. But he is. He's a good passer. We got to develop him. That's a key for us as a coaching staff of managing how what we put on his plate and what we feel like is best for the team. But you'll see him back there behind center quite a bit.
Coach, do you and your staff, you look at last year's games over and over again in the off season? And if you do, how close is your program to the elite, namely North Dakota State?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You go back and watch the games in their entirety, and then just watch a bunch of cut-ups. You're going to watch the games, but more so what our staffs are spending all their time is watching every situation in football, whether it's run game, pass game, what down and distance is it, what play every time we ran, power, counter, zone, or outside zone. Those are all listed. We're going to go through what we do well, what we not do well, what do we want to change for this year. We've watched every rep there is to watch, make notes on it, who did what well. And so, that's what you're doing on both sides of the ball and on special teams. So that's been thoroughly went through. But what I see is a program that's ready to take that next step. It's just not just gonna happen. There's work to be done. But I honestly, when I sit in front of recruits and tell them that this program expectations are to win a national championship, I feel like that's not just quotes on a wall or saying that and not really believing it. I think our guys have a firm grip, and so does our staff. We've been there. We see what has to be done, the players you have to recruit, and we're set up here to get that done.
and then I look at this, June and July community days with Coach Hill. What is that?
I don't know. You have to read that off. I don't know what.
Community is when we go out and you'll talk to community groups.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Tickets. So forth.
we obviously we want to. We're going to get out in the community all that we can do and get to different towns and speak. I think it's. I've said that anywhere. I mean, I go out and speak quite a bit, but if you need someone to speak, I'd be happy to speak on and talk to any group about Saluki football or what we have going on, or to any group of kids. Our guys know that. They've just finished up a competition and community services at the top. You get the most points for getting out and getting out and doing community service. So I mean, we've got to sell more tickets. I mean, we for us to take that, it's just not. It's an entire thought process, and that is fan support as well. You know, when our first 2 away games and we come to play SEMO at home, a regional rivalry, there's no reason why that stadium shouldn't be filled. And then our second home game is Northern Iowa on, I think, is that family weekend. It's family weekend against Northern Iowa, who's going to probably be ranked 3rd or 4th in the nation. And it's our first home game. And if we want to make it, if we were going up there, we'd be playing against 17,000 sold out in a dome that's hard to hear. And it's an environment that's tough to play in, and we need to make that. And whether that's a difference in a point or a touchdown or whatever that difference is, maybe it's a big stop on 3rd down just because we had a full stadium, it was loud, and there was a support. And for us to take that next step, I think when you see teams that do take those steps, it's a collective thing. It's a school-wide thing. It's a community thing. And at the end of the day, it's us going out there and doing it on the field, but it takes everybody.
All right, anything else for Coach? All right, good questions.
All right.